This is Becoming a Professional Bass Player. My name's Deborah and this is the video journal of my career transition. I'm speaking to you today in front of my new piece of art that I have in the office, which is by a great photographer and a fantastic bassist called Oliver Poshman. And he took this on one of his many trips around London. It was just something that spoke to him, and it really speaks to me when I'm feeling doubtful, when I'm feeling worried about things. I look at this photograph and it, stop, enjoy your life, disco. And it makes me remember that we're here for a good time, not a long time, and it's really important to do the things that matter to us and express ourselves while we're here. And I thought I would share, on that theme, I thought I would share what was going on for me last week and how I got through it. That I was feeling incredibly wobbly last week. And what I often do in those moments is turn to my psychotherapeutic background, turn to a philosophical background in terms of the work of Eckhart Tolle, and to pray. Last week, this is not untypical of my journey. There I was, really frightened about whether this was all going to pan out, or whether it would all, I'd fall flat on my face. And two things happened in that day that were really quite, in many ways, like everyday miracles. I was really stuck on how to record cues into my new Scarlett box, which is something that you use to record your instruments into your software. And my producer, Dave Merry, just walked round. He was coming round to check out my office for sound recording. And while he was here, showed me how to do it. Just helped me over that hurdle, helped me over that stumbling block. And then later on in the day, if that wasn't enough, later on in the day, I was going to Sainsbury's. Very, very mundane. These are very, everyday miracles, as I say. And I got to the end of the road. Now, last time I'd been in Sainsbury's, I'd been looking at a poster of Blue, the band Blue, on the notice board. And it really made me think, gosh, I'd love to be on that notice board. And I know that sounds like a very small dream in a way, but I'd really been stumbling with advertising Divine Funk and getting out there. I'd been worried that people would laugh at me, or that they would... showing the world what you're doing can be quite difficult, and I'd really been working on that in my own personal therapy. And I saw this poster of Blue, and I thought I'd really love for that to be us up on the notice board in Sainsbury's for all to see. And the next week I was walking to Sainsbury's, I got to the end of the road and I bumped into the guy that's printing my posters. And he was locking up the shop and he said, "Oh, hang on, Deborah, I've got your posters for you." And I ended up walking to Sainsbury's with my posters. And when I got to the shop, I asked someone if I could put something on the notice board. They got the manager down. They were absolutely fine with it. And by the end of my trip to Sainsbury's, when I hadn't even thought that was going to be happening, there was my poster. There we were on the notice board where Blue had been the previous week. And it's just a very sort of everyday miracle. I'd asked for help and everything just fell into place for it to happen. And it encouraged me to put posters up everywhere and keep going and getting out there and advertising us. And it's things like that, and it's pieces of art like this that I feel are really important, because being successful at these things, making it work, is obviously, lots of people have said to me, "Have you seen Riot Women?" And I have, and I love it. And also there's a scene in that where they play their first gig, and somebody comes to their first gig, a scout comes to their first gig and says, "Wow, this is amazing. This has got so much raw energy and potential. Let's do something with this." And of course, in real life, me, I'm a big dreamer. But still, that's quite a stretch. That almost never happens, and it certainly hasn't happened in this case. This is 2 years of extremely hard work on my part. And the miracles are more every day. They're more sort of like little incremental bits that happen. Like, you don't ever think you're going to be out there advertising yourself, and then lo and behold you are, and people are seeing what you're doing and booking tickets, and you've crossed that hurdle of keeping it all very private and very quiet, and now it's out there and people can criticize it, people can knock it if they want to, but it's growing. So that's been my journey with it in the last few days. Today is a day of radio interviews with Southend City Radio. So the band are coming round at various points on this Wednesday to record their choices of music for the station. And I'm really looking forward to a day doing that. I think that's going to go, going to be a really interesting piece of radio to make together. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.